Coming up in Down Under EV Adventures, well, I finally get behind the wheel of a performance version of the Sealion 7. And this car shot straight to the top of my list, literally. Welcome back to Down Under EV Adventures. This is episode 100 and we're going to have a look at the Sealion 7 Performance, which Iris and I hopped into about a week ago. I can tell you straight off the bat, it's a great car. Now before we get going, just a couple of corrections. When I did the episode on the premium Sealion 7, I mentioned that there was twin chargers at the front. Now there actually is only one charger. That spot you can see on the right hand side, I believe, is just to hold another phone. So apologies for that, a few people mentioned it. And in my last video on the EV5, I said there was no rear air vents, and I was mistaken. There they are, tucked away there, just near the door. Now, in my defense, there's not many cars which have rear air vents in those locations, so you could be mistaken for missing them. Now, if you wanted to go back and have a look at the episode that we did on the premium version of the Sealion 7, I'll put a link in the description. You can go and have a look at that. So in today's episode, we're mainly going to concentrate on the differences between the two models, because there actually is not a lot of differences. So I'll go through, we'll give it a test drive, I'll show you some of the features of it, and then I'll explain what the differences are, tell you what my overall thoughts are and if it's worth the extra money to get this car. Now I just want to highlight some of the inadequacies of BYD in trying to test drive this vehicle in Perth, Western Australia. It's hard enough I live in a rural area as it is, and I make trips to Perth and I try to organise test drives. We actually wanted to test drive the performance version the first time round, and we booked a test drive and we did it at West Perth, and they didn't have the performance version there, and that's why we ended up testing the premium model the first time around. This time around we went to the Cannington branch, which you can see here. We made an appointment online. We got a call from them to say the test drive had to be changed because they double booked our spot. Could we come in half an hour earlier, which we did. And then we're promptly told they didn't have a performance model for us to test either, despite us booking it all online. They managed to find us one here at this branch, which is the Nedlands branch. And the Nedlands branch is actually managed by Matt, who we actually bought our Atto 3s off, so it was interesting to go to this branch and see Matt again. Yeah, BYD still lacking there in their customer support, and that's something that you have to bear in mind with BYD. I think they're growing quite well in Australia, but they simply don't have the staff to support, you know, all the customers coming in and wanting to arrange test drives. Anyway, but let's join us now as we finally get to sit in the one at Nedlands branch. It's sort of in the mid-afternoon when we finally got there after driving around Perth. I finally made it into the Sealion 7 Performance after driving around Perth and battling the traffic, and I have to say, isn't it nice to be back into a BYD?
Very comfy.
And it is so comfortable. I mean, we've just come out of the BMW. Before that we were in the Kia EV5, and I have to say, this car is just impressing me every time I sit inside it. So we're at BYD Nedlands, another branch of BYD in Perth, and it's actually, I've been to all the BYD dealers now in Perth. Basically, I can just say, sitting in it, it is just nice and comfortable, and we're ready to take it for a bit of a test drive. Turn on ventilated seats.
Got it. Turning on seat ventilation.
Right. So that will be nice, and I have to say it's nice to be in a car with ventilated seats for this price point. Ventilated seats, yeah baby, they're nice. I can tell you it's pretty warm here today. Concentrate on the differences in this video between this and the premium version. So there isn't a lot of differences. The inside of the car pretty much looks the same. You do get a heated steering wheel, which I guess would be nice in winter, even though we have fairly short winters here in Australia. So I've got my phone here, which has quite a thick cover, and I just put it down here, and it's actually charging through that cover, so that's good to know. Turn down fan by 3.
Okay, I've decreased fan speed by 3.
Now obviously you get the twin motors, so a motor at the front, motor at the rear, and you get these nice painted red brake calipers, which I have to say look pretty cool, but there's no real difference. When I did the review on the premium model, I forgot to mention, but on both cars the front discs are also drilled in addition to being ventilated. So I have to say the wheels look fantastic on this car. And let's just take a moment just to admire these great wheels. They're some of the better looking wheels that I've looked at on EVs lately. The thing you'll notice is they're actually 20-inch wheels and tyres. You can see 245/45 R20s. You've got Michelin Pilot Sport. There's the red brake calipers at the rear. Now while I was there, I just wanted to see what the ground clearance was like. Now obviously the ground clearance is measured at the minimum point, which is different often to where I'm measuring it here. But still I just wanted to see how it would go, and it actually looked a little bit higher here than I expected it would, so I was happy about that. Here's another quick look at the boot. So get heated seats here in the back, not that we'd probably ever use them. Now BYD loves to put lots of badges on their car, so you can see you've got the 4.5S badge and the all-wheel drive badge added to it. Key is also familiar to BYD owners. It's fairly similar to what you've got if you already own one of the BYD models. Once again, I was extremely impressed by the design element. Let's look at those lights there, the recessed badges, and just looks fantastic, the car. So very, very impressive. How refreshing it is to go back to these retractable handles after the Kia ones, which we just got out of. So I really like the retractable handles. So much easier, you can open the car with one hand. Economy wise, well, we had the car for 45 minutes or so. I don't know how long we drove, but I checked the economy. Let's have a look at it. So the economy showing on the screen is 18.8. So I think that's fairly respectable for the power of this car and what it's doing around town. It could be worse. Now I'm assuming that's mostly around town speeds, maybe with a little bit of highway. At 18.8 per 100 you would get an expected range of 438 kilometers, which is not too bad at all. Okay, now it's time to recap the differences then between this and the premium model. And we'll start with that twin motor setup. So obviously you've got a motor on the front and the back, and that increases the towing capacity to 1500 kilograms braked, which is more than double what it is in the premium model. So if you plan to do towing, well, this could be the car for you as well. 0 to 100 is 4.5 seconds, that's over 2 seconds faster than the premium model. You've got the painted brake calipers there, which I have to say do look very nice. You also add the heated steering wheel and the heated rear seats, which could be good if you have got a family and you've got people in the back. The ground clearance is ever so slightly lower in this model. You also get the 20-inch tyres, and you've gone from the Continental tyres and upgraded to the Michelin. So that's another point of difference there. Okay, so there's a bit to unpack there. So let's get straight into it and look at the pros of getting this car. Now we'll start with the obvious, and that's the fact that it's an all-wheel drive with a twin motor setup. Now that means all the four wheels are turning, and it gives you greater traction. Now if you've got any sort of interest in going off-road with the car, or doing some towing with the car, things like that, or if you do just enjoy the performance of a car that accelerates fast, then of course this car could be then on your list. And there's also a practical reason for choosing a fast accelerating car, and that's if you do a bit of long travelling between towns like I do, and you need to overtake like a truck quickly, well then that's also very useful to get around the car very quickly. Now, I looked at a lot of cars over the last couple of weeks, so there'll be a few reviews of some other models, but I can say that the BYD build quality is top notch. So, and just have a look at this. I didn't mention this in the premium review I did, but you've got that rear thing there which my wife filmed, drinks holder, armrest as well. So, BYD are really just coming on in leaps and bounds with their quality. So that's another reason I think to choose a BYD product. And like so many of BYD's cars, again it's another great all-round package. So a very practical car. So lots of people are looking for a car that's very easy to get in and out of, has a lot of features and is at a good price point. Which leads me onto the seats and comfort, and as you can see, my wife there just using the electric seat on the passenger side. So yeah, the comfort and the seats are excellent in the Sealion 7. And of course it would be remiss of me not to mention the LFP battery technology. So it is a safe battery technology, and it's also, I think, a positive I've learned after driving a few other cars with different battery chemistry. It's great, you can just charge it to 100% all the time with fantastic longevity. So what about the cons? Well, there's not many. It is a slightly thirsty car. The battery could have been slightly larger. If you're somebody who has solar and you can charge at home, I don't think that's going to be an issue. You're not going to worry, especially if you're getting free energy. The problem is more on a longer trip, and you just have to work out if that range is suitable for you. But it is a larger battery than the Atto, and you're stepping up to a different class of vehicle. And I think you are going to get a little bit of a better range than the Atto. Now, I did notice that there was not enough room here in this space here to put a spare tyre, or even a space saver spare tyre. So there's really no place to mount one. You could perhaps mount one externally if you get a tow bar, but that can be frustrating if you do live in a country area and you do a long trip and you want to have a spare tyre. At this stage, you're going to have to just leave it there in the boot, which of course is not ideal. And speaking of tow bar, at the moment there is no tow bar. You can't get one through BYD, which is very frustrating. And there's also limited accessories. I do miss the days when you could go and buy a car and there was pages and pages of accessories and you could just get the car all done. Now you can imagine living in a country area like myself. I prefer to get it all done at once so I can just pick up the car. I'm very time poor, I'm a very busy person, and I just can't do it. You need to get a lot of things done aftermarket. Unfortunately, the tow bar you can't even get done aftermarket at this stage either. It's looking like it's at least several weeks away, in Western Australia anyway. And finally, the sales and support for BYD in Australia I don't think is up to scratch. It was very hard to get a test drive. I understand they're busy, but they should be doing everything, pulling out the stops. They should be investing a lot of money in Australia and getting the staff that they need to ensure that customers have a good experience. I'm pretty convinced they're growing too fast in Australia and they just don't have the staff to keep up, and they could easily double or triple their sales if they made the experience for customers a lot better. To summarise, this is a fantastic car, fantastic build quality, and like last time, I'm struggling to find too much wrong with it. So I think it's a great choice for a mid-size SUV EV in Australia. My verdict is it's a terrific car. You should seriously consider it. As usual, let us know in the comments if you have one, either premium or the performance model. I'd love to know. I always like hearing your feedback. And yeah, I'll let you know whether I decide to buy one, of course. But in the meantime, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me today. As usual, I do really appreciate it. And do take care as always, especially if you're a pedestrian near a busy road. Okay, we'll see you very soon with more on Down Under EV Adventures. Bye for now.